Welcome to the Long Run with Joel and Christy. I'm Joel.
And I'm Christy.
And what are we doing today?
We're going to show you what cheap and frugal looks like to us. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to take you inside the house. And then we're going to sit down for just a minute and we're going to chat. And then we'll show you the rest. Okay, so let's go in.
All right, let's go.
Our door is hard to open. As you can see, it's pretty simple. And that's for a couple of reasons. One is when we sold our house 8 years ago, we downsized a lot. So we just don't have all the things anymore.
Yep.
But that's good because I've got less things to clean up.
There you go.
So, all right. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is we want to lay some groundwork for our video, and that is that cheap and frugal to us is not the same thing. Cheap means that you buy the cheapest thing that you can find, and you put little emphasis on how long it will last. You'll just buy it, and in 3 to 6 months, you might have to buy it again. For us, frugal living means that you buy wisely, you research your purchases, and you make sure that you buy things that are going to stand the test of time so that you don't have to keep buying it, right?
Right.
So, knowing that, let's move on to one other subject, and that is why we rent a house. Like we said, 8 years ago, we started our debt-free journey, right?
Yep.
And we had a house at the time. We had the mortgage, the whole thing. And when we bought that house, we were not prepared for any types of emergencies. We had no backup saved at all. So the whole time that we lived there, which was about 8 years, I think, just as soon as we'd save some money, something would break in the house and we'd have to fix it, and then we'd be out of savings again. So when Joel got an opportunity to move to Houston to start working there, we of course sold our house where we were living in Tennessee, and we decided just to rent. Like, we used the profits of that sale to get out of debt, and we rented. Yep. And so you may be wondering, well, that's been 4 years. Why don't you buy now? While we first have been working on building up that emergency fund so that we don't have any reason to, like I said, that first time we didn't have an emergency fund built up. So we were not prepared in any way for any type of emergency. So now we have the ability to handle emergencies, but we also want to build up some savings to pay a decent down payment because we don't want to pay a PMI. And our third reason why we haven't bought a house yet is here in Orlando. That's right, we've moved from Tennessee to Texas, and now we live in Orlando. But here in Orlando, you almost can't buy a house without an HOA fee. So we have to take into account, is renting more expensive or cheaper than paying for a mortgage, having a PMI, and having an HOA fee. So we looked at the house that the townhome that we are currently living at, the ones on this street. One is for sale, and the HOA fee is about
$304 a month.
$304. So that's an additional $304 that we would be responsible for if we bought this same townhome. But because we don't have all those, we only have to pay the rent.
So that's what we're renting right now. So yes. It may change in the future, but
our dream is to buy a house again, but not be house poor to the point that we can't afford to live, because all of our money goes straight to mortgage and HOA fees and stuff like that. And the bonus to that is if something breaks in this house, it's not our responsibility.
That's right. All right, so this is our most recent purchase. It's a living room set. Now, we've never really owned a living room set before. We just kind of piecemealed our stuff together. Yeah, we went the cheap way, buying some less expensive things that only lasted a few months. But
a few years maybe.
Yeah.
And then we had some hand-me-downs from relatives and stuff like that.
Right. And so we decided that when we got in here, we wanted to go ahead and buy some good quality furniture that was going to last for a while. And so we did. We saved up the money for it, and we paid cash for it. So everything you're seeing here is paid for. It was the 2 end tables, the 2 lamps, the 2 couches, and the coffee table.
One thing that we want to point out is like when we bought this from a furniture store, one thing to watch out for them is they will charge you a delivery fee and a fee to set up your furniture inside. So we asked them about that, and we had them remove the setup fee.
And what they said was that for the setup fee, they take it to wherever it was that you're going to set up your furniture at. If you can tell, this is our front door. This is where it's at. So what we figured was they're going to bring it in at least this far anyway. So why do we need a setup fee? And so they did. They brought it in. They set it down. The couches they put together themselves, but the end tables and the coffee table we had to put together, which 15, 20 minutes, and you're pretty much done with that.
And they were going to charge an extra $50, I think it was, for actually putting the furniture together for us. Turn it back here for just a second. This is actually something that we've had from Joel's great aunt, and we have had that one, and it's pretty sturdy.
It's probably 50 to 75 years old, this little table right here.
Yep. And then if you turn right here to our TV, right now we are using my Hope Chest. Comment down below if you know what a Hope Chest is. But we're using that as our entertainment center. But one day we'll buy an entertainment center and use that somewhere else. And as you also can see, we do not have a dining room table.
That's where it's supposed to go, but we don't have it yet. We're going to step right in here into this closet now. You guys know that I'm a runner. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pairs of shoes there that are mine. Now, what I do is I buy my running shoes from outlet stores, from the Skechers outlet, for about half the price you would buy them from a normal store. Even the Skechers store, you would pay probably about double for those pairs of shoes. And after I'm done running with them and I retire them from running, I use them as my everyday shoes. So this pair here, and this pair now are all everyday shoes that I can just wear out if I'm going shopping or going somewhere, like going to the parks or something like that. Then I just wear those shoes. And these 2 pair right here are the shoes that I'm using for my running right now. So you can see that I can get double use out of those, and it costs me a little less money because I don't have to buy 2 pairs of shoes for 2 different activities.
Okay, so now we're in our kitchen. We're going to show you a few things that we use in our kitchen so that we never have to spend extra money. We're actually showing you things that in the long run saves you money. We bought dryer balls. You can buy those at on Amazon and Walmart, whatever. We got 6, and we've had them for a really long time. And so we don't buy dryer sheets. Dryer sheets are not necessary, and these do a great job of fluffing everything out so it dries nicely. It saves time and energy on your dryer as well, because it's supposed to dry your stuff faster. We have flour sack towels that we use so that we don't have to use paper towels as often. And we actually bought a set of napkins. You can make them yourself from old t-shirts and stuff, but I don't have a sewing machine to get a nice seam on it. So we just found a nice set. They were pretty cheap on Amazon. They're black. So the great thing about that is that if they are stained, you'll never know it. And these are like 2 or 3 years old, and as you can see, they are still in excellent condition. No thread bearing or anything like that. And because we use that, we don't use paper towels with our food, or we don't buy paper napkins either. The Misto, we've shown this in our cooking videos a lot, and this does save money because we're able to put cooking oil in it, and we don't have to buy cans of cooking spray that are like $2 a pop. And here we have reusable lid covers. Now you may be wondering, what are those for? Well, you may have seen this in our cooking video before, this long rectangle one. You can cover casserole dishes with it. And the great thing about it is that you don't have to use aluminum foil to cover your casserole dishes in the oven. So we don't have to buy aluminum foil for that. And then this round one could go on a round casserole dish in the oven, but it also can be used in the microwave to cover a dish if you use the microwave, so that you don't have to use a paper towel to cover it to keep splatters from happening in your microwave. This is perfect for that. Okay, and so finally here in the kitchen, what we wanted to point out today is that we do stock our pantry and our fridge and freezer with items that we can use to make things from scratch. That's easy. We don't make everything from scratch, but we look for easy things, and that saves you money because you're not spending as much money on canned or packaged things that you could be making at home. One of them is right here. This is chicken broth. It's been going for about a day, and it'll go till tomorrow, and then I'll just strain out the bones. You can do that for chicken broth. You can do it for veggie broth, beef broth, any of those. We also use this homemade chicken broth, and we turn around and make homemade cream of chicken soup, so that when a recipe calls for canned cream of chicken soup, we don't have to buy the can. And it's minimal ingredients. You know what's in the cream of chicken soup because you made it yourself, and it takes 10 minutes. You probably already have all those ingredients in your pantry. So that's why we do that. Cream of chicken soup is really easy. We actually have a recipe on our channel already of that cream of chicken soup, so you can save yourself some time and money by making it yourself at home. So that is all that we're going to show you in the kitchen, and we're going to take you outside and talk about cars.
All right, guys, let's talk about cars for a minute. This is the main car that we drive. It is a Honda Civic Hybrid, and we've had it for 8 years. It's 13 years old. We traded in our SUVs and gas guzzlers for this car 8 years ago, and when we were starting on our debt-free journey, and it still runs pretty good. We keep it serviced pretty well. Okay, so here's the other car that we own, and it's a 2016 Nissan Versa, and we saved up and paid cash for it, drove it off the lot. It was paid for. And
that was just in July when we got this.
Yeah, it's just been...
We've been saving a while.
Yeah, just been a couple months, and we saved up for it and bought it with cash. Our son mainly uses this for going back and forth to class. So we only have one car for the last 5 years, and then we decided to save up, and we bought this one and paid cash for it. So there you go. Those are 2 cars that we own. All right, so here we are back at the front of our house. We hope you've enjoyed this frugal tour through our home today. And drop us a comment below and let us know some of your frugal tips, some of the things that you're doing to save money and to build up your savings and pay things off and get out of debt, and just let us know those things, because we want to know. We want to know what you're working on, and some of the successes you've had, and maybe some of the failures you've had along the way, so that others can learn from you as well.
That's right. And be sure to be checking out our grocery haul videos. We throw tips in there almost every week, how to price compare using unit cost, and great tips for, hopefully you will consider great tips for how to save money on your groceries. And we show frugal recipes and all kinds of stuff. So be sure to subscribe.
Yep, so don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notifications bell for updates when we upload new videos on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and sometimes on the weekend. Never know when we're going to hit the parts and upload a video. So with that said, I think that's going to do it today for The Long Run with Joel and Christy. I'm Joel.
And I'm Christy.
And don't forget it's a long run. Give yourself a little grace.
Bye.